All right, what we're looking at is the order presentation for school year 2016-2017 for Chestatee High School. The rationale for this is actually twofold. The first part is taking specifically a look at the portion of our Media Center mission statement that I want to focus on is student empowerment. And the whole point of empowerment is giving our students the tools that they need to be successful in all areas. And this is all students. I know a lot of times we tend to focus on the general population as a whole, but I really wanted to focus on two student groups this year. And the second part of this is actually a part of our long-term action plan for the high school. And one of our goals that is supported by advanced ed standards is to continue to grow and support our AP program, particularly with our Hispanic student population. And that is one of the focuses that we have. Our school is almost 50% Hispanic, and we are trying to encourage those students to pursue education in the AP program so the program itself reflects a more accurate image of our student population. The other portion of that long-term action plan is to offer increased support for our students with disabilities, with that population, and to help them not only be successful in the testing realm, but also to be successful when it comes to doing well, in their classes and such. Okay. All right. Our program needs, I'm really looking at two things. One is identifying nonfiction texts that are current and directly support the instruction and curricular needs of our AP capstone courses. As of last year, Chestatee became a pilot school for the AP diploma. And we were the only the only high school in the state of Georgia that had this distinction. And with that, we actually had to add two courses. The first capstone course is AP Seminar. The second capstone course is AP Research. And so what I would like to do, even though nonfiction tends to go out of date very quickly, I would like to identify text or supports that are there in place to help these students, particularly ones that are pursuing the AP diploma through these two courses, because they've got to have some additional resources and all that are here for those students. The second need that I saw in our program was to identify high interest fiction text. And these would be texts that are of a lower Lexile level. A lot of them will need to be middle grades. But with it being high interest, I want it to be something that's going to support the instructional and curricular needs of our students with disabilities. This is something that, especially the boys, I guess is easy to say, is something that's going to interest them and get their attention as well when it comes to reading. All right, so the selection target that we're working on is under the monetary amount of $2,500. My budget for the past year for media, books, ebooks, resources, and things like that, it's based off of a formula that is per student that we have enrolled, and I believe I had just over $14,000 to spend. So what I would like to do is use at least $2,500 this year to focus on supporting our advanced placement students and our students with disabilities. This can go upwards of about $4,000 of that $14,000 could be used to support these two populations. If that is the case, I would like to try to divide the money with $2,000 to one group and $2,000 to the second group. But the student population focus, as I said earlier, is our advanced placement students and our students with disabilities. So this is going to hit both ends of our spectrum when it comes to student population. The content for the selection target would be fiction, that is high interest and of a lower Lexile level. and very engaging, but also high-level nonfiction texts, whether they be online or in print, that support the research and course needs of our AP students. All right, so with our selection process, this is very similar to what I do with our general selection process, but I tried to make it specific to these selection targets. The first that I would like to do is actually do consultation with our AP coordinator and AP teachers and students. Since this is actually my real life selection target for the 16-17 school year, I've actually already met with our AP coordinator and have discussed with our AP teachers about some of the resources we have available. So once the school year ends, I'm actually going to meet with them individually and try to plan. And then also I have met with current AP seminar students who are continuing on into the AP research class. And I'm looking at what type of research they are planning on doing, and offering them support as much as I can in advance for that research that they're going to be doing for their next class. The next group that I've involved in the selection process is our student media committee. They are going to help in some of the selection decisions as well, especially the decisions that I make with the high interest fiction text. Another thing I'm doing in this process is consulting with the general education teachers and the special education teachers about what our SWD populations need in order to support their learning. For example, I know one of the specific needs that we have is in biology with a fiction project that they use. They have to select a fiction book. They do make some exceptions with nonfiction, but for the most part it is a fiction book that contains some type of element when it comes to biology and that type of science. And so what we're seeing is there's a lot that's there in a higher Lexile range, but we do not have as much for a lower reading ability population. So we're hoping to change that. And then, as usual, I will also consult with any library or media organization sites for selection titles, for points of interest, and other things that can help with this. All right, so an overview of the items. For our AP students, I would like to make sure that we have updated test prep items. There were a few of the tests, one in particular being U.S. history, that went through a complete overhaul with the 2015 test. So I want to make sure that our materials that we have for this coming school year reflect what they need. And one of the things we can use that's been successful is the 5 Steps to a 5 series. And what I can actually do is I can purchase up to 5 copies of this to have in general checkout and circulation. So a teacher can use those 5 copies in their classroom, or the students can come and get those as well as needed. I'm also looking to purchase current event or debate resources for our AP seminar and AP research students in order to help them be successful in the research that they will have to do for College Board. For my students with disabilities, I'm trying to work on finding the highly engaging fiction and then also graphic novels that would help meet their curricular needs. I talked about biology fiction earlier, but another thing that we have is the need for Shakespeare in a side-by-side reader, or even graphic novels, but something that would help reaffirm understanding with these students instead of just the traditional text. So some of the sample items, this is actually something new, that 5 Steps to 5 that we found that my teachers were very excited about, but having access to a book that has 500 test questions that they need to know. So this is a great resource because there's not that many tests that are out there that are published, so we're going to use that. And then these are 2 of the fiction novels that we're hoping to add multiple copies of, at least up to 5, in the Media Center for our students for the biology fiction. So promotional plans for this include prominent displays, but also book chats with the co-taught and resource classes and with those students who need help finding a book for the lower readers, and then book trailers that are high interest, and then finally meeting with the AP classes and the students from the seminar course and the individual students from the research course to make sure they know what is available for them. So hopefully this is going to be something that's successful. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do with this material and with this order that's going to help our kids in the long run.